Hello, my name's Bev and I'm the author of the book Please Eat, A Mother's Struggle to Free Her Teenage Son from Anorexia, which describes our family's battle with the deadly eating disorder, anorexia nervosa, which my teenage son Ben developed back in 2009 when he was just 15 years old. In the lead up to Christmas 2022, I thought I'd take a break from the recordings I've been making of the chapters from my book Please Eat, and to record some excerpts from my blog from 2011, the year I began writing my blog. You'll find a link below. At the end of 2011, I put together a series of blog posts called The 12 Days of an Eating Disorder Christmas to show what it was like when our family was struggling with an eating disorder at Christmas. Christmas can be a particularly terrible time for families dealing with this illness, and especially for the young person themselves suffering from an eating disorder, when everyone around them is eating and making merry, but they're not, because the eating disorder won't let them. This is my second video in the series, called On the Second Day of Christmas, the Eating Disorder Gave to Me 24 Christmas Tree Cookies. I wrote this post on the 26th of November 2011. Back in 2009, in the quest to rework recipes into healthy recipes, Ben made a stack of ginger cookies to hang on the Christmas tree. Angels, stars, Christmas trees, holly leaves, Santas, that kind of thing, all with satin red ribbons threaded through a hole made by a drinking straw. He decided that fats should be completely eliminated from the recipe. Fats were the number one fear food, and Ben would go out of his way to avoid them. The cookies smelled wonderful as they were baking. They looked divine, but not surprisingly, they tasted terrible and were rock hard. Back then, you instantly knew when a recipe had gone wrong, because there would be an almighty crash in the kitchen as Ben's fist came down slap bang on the work surface, followed by animal howling and the sound of Ben kicking things or banging his head against the wall. With the anorexia, everything had to be perfect. Anything that was slightly less than perfect was rejected outright with a violent eating disorder outburst to reinforce it. Anything that was a total failure was even worse. Already by late November 2009, I got to the stage where I live in dread of anything going wrong with the evening meal I'd cooked. The eating disorder would come down on me like a ton of bricks, punishing me for the slightest thing. Too hot, too cold, too big a portion, not tasty enough, too many carbohydrates, too much fat. So I knew by the noisy reaction that the fat-free Christmas tree cookies weren't a big success. And while my husband and I went on to eat some lovely home-based Christmas stuff, like homemade chocolate chip cookies, mince pies, etc., Ben ate nothing except his usual dried and fresh fruit, all painstakingly chopped into uniformly tiny pieces and arranged on a plate, because that's how the eating disorder liked to do things. The other evening, Ben made this year's batch of Christmas tree cookies, this time cinnamon cookies. The shapes were the same, the baking smell was the same, and the colour was the same. But this time he made them to the proper recipe, fat and all, because that's what he always does nowadays. These are the best Christmas cookies I have ever tasted, and Ben agreed as he merrily tucked into the broken ones that had stuck to the baking tray. That's the end of that blog post. And it shows that by 2011, when I wrote this blog post, Ben was already starting to recover. It was going to be a long time before he did fully recover, but we were well on the way to recovery, and Christmas 2011 was much, much better, to put it mildly, than the previous 2 Christmases. Thank you for listening. You'll find links to my book, my blog, and my website below.